Okay, here's our video on multiplying decimals. So it's very important when we multiply decimals. Unlike adding and subtracting, we don't have to line the decimals up. So the decimals do not have to be lined up. Let's fix that. Sometimes they just line up by themselves. So just keep that in mind. They don't have to be lined up. They line up by themselves sometimes. So we'll give an example. Let's say we had 3.4 times 2.6. And remember, we can also use the dot for times, right? So if we did this, if we lined them up, and we're not lining them up, they just happen to line up. See, we didn't line them up, they just lined up. Put the line on there. There we go. Okay, so now there's a few ways we can do this. We can do this by modeling, and I'll show you a little modeling at the end of the video, and we'll do more modeling in class. So just multiply this like you would normally multiply whole numbers. So the first thing is just multiply like they were whole numbers. So forget that the decimals are there. So just multiply like we have the whole numbers, right? If you do that, and then we'll come back to the decimals. So let's just do it. So 6 times 4 is 24. Bring the 2 up. 6 times 3 is 18. Plus 2 is 20. So don't worry about the decimals right now. Okay, and you could put a 0 there, or you can leave it blank. 2 times 4 is 8, and 2 times 3 is 6. Right? Then we just add. Now, we have 800, excuse me, we have 884. Now what we want to do is look at how many decimal places we have. We have 1 decimal place here, and 1 decimal place there. So we have 2 decimal places. Keep that in mind. We have 2 decimal places. What we want to do is we want to move from the last number twice. 1, 2. And our answer will be 8.84. You count the decimal places, and then go to the last number and move the amount that it tells you to move. It tells you to move twice. So you get 8.84. So it's very important to count the decimal places. Very important. Okay, so let's say I have this one now. See if you can do this one. 5 times 102.4. Now you see, I didn't line up the decimals here. You don't line up the decimals in multiplication. Only if they just happen to line up. So here, because you know 5 is 5.0. So you don't want to make the mistake of doing 102.4 times 5.0. That's extra work. So remember, there's a point right there, right? 5.0, but we don't have to worry about that. So now we just multiply. What's 5 times 4? 20. 5 times 2 is 10 plus 2 is 12. 5 times 0 is 0, plus 1 is 1, and 5 times 1 is 5. Okay? So now we have 5,120, but we have to count the decimal places. There's only 1 decimal place right there. There's only 1. So we're going to move from the last number once, and our answer will be 512. So the product is the answer to multiplication. So how would you multiply this? So you should pause the tape and try it. Okay? So I can put 138.4 times 56.9, and guess what? They just happen to line up. Just happen to line up. So don't line them up. Sometimes they do it by themselves. Okay, let's bring that up there. So we have 9 times 4 is 36. Bring the 3 up there. 9 times 8 is 72. 72 plus 3 is 75. 9 times 3 is 27. 27 plus 3 is 34. 9 times 1 is 9. Plus 3 is 12. Okay, don't worry about the decimals right now. We have to put a 0 there. 6 times 4 is 24. 6 times 8 is 48. Plus 2 is 50. 6 times 3 is 18. 18 plus 5, 23. 6 times 1 is 6. 6 plus n plus 2 is 8. Okay, now we have to put two zeros down here. Every time you get a different line, you have to add more zeros. 1 0, 2 zeros. Okay, so 5 times 4 is 20. Bring the 2 up. 5 times 8 is 40. Plus 2 is 42. 5 times 3 is 15. 15 plus 4 is 19. And 5 times 1 is 5 plus 1 is 6. We have this giant number over here. So we have a 6, we have a 9, we have a 4, we have 2, 2, and 3. That's 7. And we have 17 and 1 is 18. So here's our giant number. So remember, we had 1, 2 decimal places. 2 decimal places. 1 here, 1 there. So we have to move it from the last number there. That would be our answer. Now if you had, let's say you had something like this. I'll give you, what if I had a 1.0003 times 5, right? Don't line the decimals. So 5 times 3 is 15. 5 times 0 is 0. Then we have 1. Then we have a 0, and a 5. How many decimal places do we have? Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4. So from the last number, we go 1, 2, 3, 4. And there's our answer. Let's do a word problem. Let's say the cost of apples is $1.23, and Gibby buys 5. So how can we do how can we get the product? It's $1.23, or 1.23 times 5. So 5 times 3 is 15. Bring the 1 up. 5 times 2 is 10. So 11. 5 times 1 is 5 plus 1 is 6. And how many decimal places do we have? 1, 2. There we go. Remember, we're moving to the left, not to the right. So it's 6.15. Now, I'm going to show you a way to model multiplication. Let's say we had this. It says model 0.3 times 0.4. And you don't have to put that 0 there. So what we can do is we're going to make a square. We're going to make a square. It's best when you do this to use different colors. So when I'm going to ask you to bring in different color inks or pencils. So we're going to make a square. It doesn't have to be perfect. Something like that. And we're going to look at 0.3 first. So 0.3 says, remember, decimals are fractions. So this is 3/10. It's in the 10th place, remember? Bring that down. It's 3/10 in the 10th place. So let's make 10 lines here. Right? Alright, let's see if we have 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. One more. There we go. So we're going to make 10 lines. 10 boxes. 10 long boxes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're using 10 because remember the 0.3 is in the 10th place. So there's 10 boxes. Now it says 0.3, so there's 3 of these boxes should be shaded because it's 3. 3 out of the 10. 3 out of 10. Remember the fractions. 3 out of 10. So we're going to just shade in 3. Or you just put lines like this. Okay, so there's our, that represents 3/10. That represents 3/10. Now, let's represent 4/10 by doing it the other way, left to right. So now, we'll make 10 boxes going this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That should be 10. So let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Remember the first one we did going down, up and down, and the next one we're going to go left to right. Okay. Now 0.4 means that 4 should be shaded. So we'll shade in this. We'll do lines like that, right? We'll just shade the whole thing. Right. Okay, now the answer will be where there are black lines and green lines together. So where are the black lines and green lines together? Well, right here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. They share these 12 boxes. So the answer will be point 12. Point 12. That's how we model it. Now, if we wanted to check, let's do the check. We'll have 0.3 times 0.4. And you don't have to put the zeros. So 4 times 3 is 12. And how many decimal places? 1, 2. 1, 2, 0.12. Okay, let's see if you can do your own model. So how would you do 0.7 times 0.2? So again, the first thing you do, make a square. Well, let's use blue. Make a blue square. Or a rectangle. Actually, it's a square because it's 10 each side, right? So we want to make 10 boxes, so that means 9 lines, not 9 lives. This is not a cat, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and we need one more, right? And always double check, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there's our 10. Now 0.7. Let's fill 0.7 in. That means we should fill 7 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's our 7. Okay. Now, for the other one, we have to go left to right. So let's use green for left to right. Make our 10 boxes now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That should be 10. Let's double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, how many should I shade with 0.2? 2. 2 should be shaded this way. Looks messy. So how many are green and blue? How many are green and blue? Right here, they're green and blue, right? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 0.14 is our answer. We'll do more modeling in class, but you should review the tape if you didn't understand that, okay? So great job.